1. Nothing is more certain than death and taxes. This quote reminds us that these two things are the absolute, unavoidable certainties in life, a timeless and often humorous observation on existence and governance. 2. Don't talk unless you can improve the silence. Here's what that really means. Only speak if your words genuinely add value, insight, or positivity to the moment. Otherwise, it's often better to remain quiet. 3. A man wrapped up in himself makes a very small bundle. This quote reminds us that someone who is excessively self-absorbed or egocentric will have a very limited and insignificant impact on the world, as their self-focus shrinks their influence. 4. The only thing that hurts harder than learning is not learning. Here's what that really means. While acquiring knowledge can be challenging, the long-term consequences of remaining ignorant or uneducated are far more detrimental and painful. 5. Learn to value yourself, which means fight for your happiness. This quote reminds us that true self-worth involves actively pursuing and defending your own well-being and joy, recognizing that your happiness is a goal worth striving for. 6. Wisdom begins with wonder. Here's what that really means. The pursuit of knowledge and understanding is fundamentally ignited by a sense of curiosity, awe, and a desire to explore the unknown. 7. Where there's liberty, there's learning. This quote reminds us that freedom is essential for true education and intellectual growth to flourish, as an open society allows for the free exchange of ideas and inquiry. 8. Learning is better than silver and gold. Here's what that really means. Knowledge and education are more valuable and provide more lasting benefits than material wealth or riches. 9. Work while it is called today, for you know not how much you may be hindered tomorrow. This quote reminds us that you should act and accomplish tasks promptly, as delays or unforeseen obstacles may prevent you from completing them in the future. Seize the present moment for productivity. 10. Reading without reflection is like eating without digesting. Here's what that really means. Simply reading words without thinking about them or integrating them into your understanding is unproductive. True learning from reading requires contemplation and processing. 11. Love your enemies, for they tell you your faults. This quote reminds us that you should appreciate those who oppose you because their criticism, even if ill-intended, can reveal your weaknesses or areas for self-improvement. 12. A good example is the best sermon. Here's what that really means. Leading by doing and demonstrating positive behavior is far more effective in teaching or inspiring others than merely talking about ideals or giving advice. 13. Wise men don't need advice. Fools won't take it. This quote reminds us that truly wise individuals often possess enough understanding to guide themselves, while foolish people are too stubborn or ignorant to benefit from good counsel, often making advice pointless. 14. Every great advance in knowledge has issued from a new audacity of imagination. Here's what that really means. Significant breakthroughs in understanding and discovery are always born from bold, unconventional, and creative thinking that dares to challenge existing ideas. 15. Let thy discontents be thy secrets. This quote reminds us that you should keep your complaints, grievances, and dissatisfactions to yourself rather than broadcasting them, as complaining often serves no productive purpose. 16. True wisdom comes from knowing what to overlook. Here's what that really means. A sign of genuine wisdom is the ability to discern what is unimportant or beyond your control, and then wisely choose to ignore or let go of those things. 17. The first mistake in public business is going into it. This quote reminds us that this expresses a cynical view that involvement in public affairs, especially without proper preparation or a realistic understanding, is inherently problematic or regrettable. 18. If you would not be forgotten as soon as you are dead, either write something worth reading or do something worth writing. Here's what that really means. To achieve lasting legacy and remembrance after death, one must either create impactful literary works or accomplish deeds noteworthy enough to be recorded and remembered. 19. 'Tis easier to suppress the first desire than to satisfy all that follow it. This quote reminds us that it's far simpler to resist an initial temptation or impulse at its very beginning than to try and fulfill every subsequent desire that stems from giving in to the first. 1. Self-control at the outset is key. 20. We are all born ignorant, but one must work hard to remain stupid. Here's what that really means. Everyone starts life without knowledge, but staying ignorant requires a deliberate effort to avoid learning or thinking, implying that true stupidity is a choice. 21. Reading sharpens the mind as whetstones sharpen blades. This quote reminds us that the act of reading effectively hones and refines one's intellect, critical thinking, and cognitive abilities, much like a sharpening stone improves a knife. 22. Learn not only to say the right thing in the right place, but also to leave unsaid the wrong thing at the tempting moment. Here's what that really means. True communication skill involves both knowing what beneficial words to utter at the opportune time and possessing the discipline to refrain from speaking hurtful or inappropriate things when provoked or tempted. 23. Wisdom is often found in silence. This quote reminds us that thoughtful contemplation and listening, often occurring in quiet moments, are conducive to gaining deeper understanding and insight, making silence a path to wisdom. 24. Ignorance is a voluntary misfortune. Here's what that really means. A lack of knowledge or education is not an unavoidable fate, but rather a self-imposed disadvantage, implying that one chooses to remain ignorant. 25. The educated mind is the richest of all possessions. This quote reminds us that intellectual wealth and a well-developed understanding are the most valuable assets a person can acquire, surpassing any material possessions in significance and lasting benefit. 26. To succeed, you must first improve your understanding. Here's what that really means. Real success isn't possible without first gaining a deeper insight and knowledge of the subject or challenge at hand. 27. He who opens a school door closes a prison. This quote reminds us that providing access to education is a powerful preventative measure against crime and societal problems. Learning empowers individuals and reduces the need for incarceration. 28. A good education is the foundation upon which we build our future. Here's what that really means. A strong educational background is the essential starting point for personal and societal progress, laying the groundwork for all future achievements. 29. Learning is the key that unlocks the doors of opportunity. This quote reminds us that acquiring knowledge and skills is what truly opens up possibilities and access to a wider range of chances in life. 30. A mind once enlightened cannot again become dark. Here's what that really means. Once a mind has gained true understanding or insight, that knowledge and clarity cannot be truly lost or undone. It represents a permanent intellectual transformation. 31. True learning comes not from memorizing, but from understanding. This quote reminds us that genuine education isn't about rote recall of facts, but about grasping the meaning, connections, and implications of information. 32. If knowledge is power, then education is freedom. Here's what that really means. Since knowledge empowers individuals, the process of education liberates them by providing the tools to think critically, make informed choices, and escape limitations. 33. Teach not just for today, but for the life your students will live tomorrow. This quote reminds us that Education should equip students with skills and knowledge that are relevant and adaptable for their entire future, not just for immediate application. 34. To read without purpose is to wander in thought. Here's what that really means. Reading without a clear goal or direction often leads to unproductive mental meandering, as true benefit comes from focused engagement with the material. 35. Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. This quote reminds us that the essence of education is not merely accumulating information, but developing the mental capacity for critical analysis, problem solving, and independent reasoning. Thank you for spending this moment with the Mind Shelf. Let this quote stay with you, and may your day be filled with peace and purpose. If it stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Reflect, share, and let's grow together, one thought at a time. What does this quote mean to you? Share your thoughts below. Your words might inspire someone else today. If you'd like more gentle wisdom and soulful reflections, don't forget to subscribe and join our growing mindful community. And if you're watching this as you wind down, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and carry this wisdom into your dreams. Until next time, rest well.